Okay, Team Tour quarterfinals recap and semifinals preview. I'm just gonna get right into it, going over all of the four sets of the quarterfinals. Um, so the first one was Simi's team against Echo's team. I think a lot of people kind of saw this outcome, if I'm being brutally honest. Simi's team winning 5-2. So yeah, I'm gonna go over all the matchups for all of the team sets. So Simi, Mango, again, people kind of saw this one coming. Simi 4-0 Mango. I think it was kind of a sweep. I do think Mango, I think, pulled out some Pack 2. Simi styled with Pack 4 a little bit, but, kind of as we expected, Simi kind of washed, unfortunately. Mango, he had a really rough out to the season. The only player that went 0-6 this season. Feels bad for my boy Mango. Then the second matchup was Echo Fluffo. This one was really interesting. It was really. I think a lot of the games were pretty close. Went all the way to Game 7 before Echo won. I will say this doesn't feel exactly like Fluffo or Echo's meta necessarily, but Fluffo, he's had his struggles. I'm really interested to see how he does. His next matchup will be against Onet, and we'll get into my prediction for that in a while. Then Noob Skills versus Kadi. This was interesting. So Noob Skills is 4-0'd Kadi, which is kind of crazy. Everybody knows I love slandering Kadi, so but Noob Skills has beat Kadi like pretty definitively in the last like 3 sets they've played now. He just has his number. Rough out to the season for Kadi though. But yeah, Noob Skills, he's been cruising. He's having a pretty good season, I believe. 4-2 now, so it's about what I thought he had. So, he's having a good season, looking very strong, and be interesting to see going forward with him. Then we have Anonymous versus Burt Boy. One that Echo's team really needed to win. It was one of the swing sets, but Anonymous took that one down. I didn't watch that set a whole lot. But good win for Anonymous. We love Bird Boy though. Philip versus Cap. I don't want to get into it too much because I've said I wouldn't. Pretty much Cap got banned for cheating, and that's about it. So Philip is kind of actually like I was looking at the stats. Philip is having a crazy good season. I think he's 5-1 now. 5-1. I mean, he's even super good. He's just crushing like all of the bottom seeds and doing super well. So feels bad for people that lost the Cap, I guess. Kadi did get a job debuff, yes. Then Amo versus Lulakita. This one I think a lot of people thought was going to be a little bit closer. Not that Amo isn't probably favored, but I think a lot of people did have Lulakita making it at least somewhat close. But Ambo just 4-0'd, took care of business. Another set that I didn't get to watch because I think it was like super early or something. But either way, Ambo kind of cleaned up there. I think Ambo had like a little bit of a rough season overall. Not like insanely bad, but 3-3. So I guess pretty normal season. Nothing too flashy, but okay season. And Lulakita has had a lot of swingy ones. They've lost a lot of close ones, won a lot of close ones. They're very... Lulakita is one of the weirdest cases for me because I don't really know how good she is exactly. They seem like a solid 7 seed, but they have some weird losses, and they have some nice wins and some like close losses against good people, so it'd be interesting to see going forward. And then Wolfgang 3-0'd Vaughn. We don't really got to get much into that. Wolfgang just, is better. Rough season also for Vaughn. I think he only had 1 win, and that was against Pikes in, like, the first week. Oh, no, 2 wins. Who was his other one against, actually? I don't know. Let me look. Who else did he beat? So I know. He beat... Who else? Chat. Oh, he beat Isatashi. That's right. So, okay, not too bad at least. At least he got 2 wins. First team tour, not the worst. Okay, moving into our second quarterfinal matchup. Teedisc team against Kutarba's team. This was one of the closer ones I would have predicted going in. Um, uh, so Jiggy beats Mirko 4-0. Really bad sign for Teedisc team going forward, I think. Mirko has had some nice wins though, but Jiggy kind of just cleared up. So, um, again, this win also is probably an upset, at least on paper. I think a lot of people had Kutarba's team at least rated higher. Um, I'm not sure. I mean, I had the matchups pretty close on this one when doing it. There was a lot of different swings, including like Onet versus Sag and things like that. Teedisc Kutarba. This set was played after the set was already over, but Kutarba won and like they played like a super long set. I didn't even watch it, but I just know it was like a best of like 11 or 9 or something that Kutarba won. Cheese Master versus Snixer. I think my big takeaway from watching that set was Snixer is deservedly probably a 6 seed, which is crazy because he got drafted like as a 3rd seed really early. He had a really rough season. Didn't really ask for a lot of coaching and just a rough outing for Snixer. And that Cheese Master is like really good at the game. Watching him, he plays pretty good. He has strong teams a lot. He's a good Pac 2 player that cleans up the bottom seeds a lot. And honestly, like, Cheese Master has definitely changed a little bit of my perception of the team. Because I've said this a lot in previous weeks where, like, there's only a certain amount of people on this team that I could trust, and it was mainly, like, their top 4. And then their bottom 3 are very, like, on and off. Cheese Master has changed that. I think Cheese Master is really good. He's solidified as a good 5 seed, and could even maybe play up in some times. So, Cheese Master, much better than I thought he was after watching him this week. Then Pooh versus Tapir, Pooh won. I think Tapir is not bad, but Pooh Balls is just on a little bit of a different level, I think. Wombat versus Coke was very, very weak. Coke has had his struggles a lot throughout the season, and his wins. He had a real season. He got wins. Like, he did win the set, but against somebody like Wombat, Coke, you'd like Coke to be playing stronger. Interested to see how he does in future tournaments. I know we of course done it for the next season. Wombat though, he's just so shaky. Like, he doesn't look like he's super strong in a lot of his sets. I don't think he's playing super well. He definitely worries me a little bit moving forward in the playoffs for Teedisc team. I'm interested to see, in this next matchup, if he can beat Cemi or not, and how close it is, because they're gonna need their bottom seeds to show out if they want to win the whole thing. Oscar Gio, I've been an Oscar supporter for a while now. This season, he's having a crazy good season, 6-0. And I mean, I picked Oscar to win this set, and I think it was probably looked at to be perceived as a bit of an upset, but I think Oscar is just super good. When I watch him play, he plays super clean, and he's just a good player. Gio had a decent season. I think it's worth noting. I think he started struggling a little bit more towards the back end that led him at 3-3, but like at the beginning, I know he was playing super well, and I think, again, sneakily, Gio had a little bit of a bounce-back season. The last few seasons, he's, like, really struggled. And, again, I don't think Gio's, like, a top player anymore. But, it's glad to see him having, like, at least a solid season again, even if it's not maybe the best season. Then, Onet versus Sag in, like, one of the coolest formatted Team Tour sets, like, of all time. Best of 7 random pack blind mirrors where you can't look at each other's teams. I called the last like 2 or 3 games of this set. It looked a little bit like Sag was getting a little too caught up in the sauce. He had a lot of spots where I feel like he just was a little bit more lost than I would expect him to be. And Onet just played well. Onet solid game plan, got super, it just felt like Onet was navigating a little bit better. Sag committing to a couple things. I don't really think he was like necessarily because of like pressure or anything, but I think he just played a little bit worse than normal. And Onet took it home. And honestly, that's a format that I would not want to play Onet in. I think Onet is really, really good at those types of formats where, like those random pack-esque different formats. I think he's underratedly really, really good at those. even though he's just a Pack 1 man. Then coming in, the third quarterfinal match, Hop's team versus FBL's team. This one I think was probably the most to the book. Except I guess Cemi's team winning is also kind of normal and how they dominated. But Hop's team, they just dominated really. Violet Citizen, they had a nice win. I didn't get to watch it because I didn't really watch it because the set was already over by the time they played. But Rex beating Clover was super massive. Gives me a lot of confidence in Rex going forward, and we'll talk about that, of course, in their next matchups. Clover though had a good season. No discredit to Clover at all. I think one of the bottom seeds that's not talked about enough for the great performance in season that they had. It says just 3-3, but they had a lot of close sets that they lost against better players on paper, and I think Clover had a good season. So, a huge win for Rex moving forward. It should be a big confidence win. Damon doing Damon things. He's had a great season, 5-1. One of the best players in the game right now. Rough one for XRB. I know he kind of low rolled in general in this set. But, XRB, good player, great season for him as well. Can't really say much about that. Bigger Dune was a fever dream, to say the least. That was an interesting one to watch. It went, to Game 7, and Bugha Hagel Game 7. It was best of 7. That one, was definitely an interesting one. One of the sets of the season. As all Dune sets are. Goose versus Ernie. Goose just cleaned up, which, Ernie's somebody that has improved a lot this season, and I'm going to point that out. Don't get me wrong, Ernie, he is not, the best player of all time or anything, but, Ernie, this is a huge improvement for him, going from 3-3, the last pick in the entire draft, Mr. Irrelevant. And I'm super happy for Ernie. Again, not the greatest season, but he had a huge improvement in results as a player. And I just want to give huge props to Ernie. He's before, he was still very new to competitive and was struggling a lot more. And now he's far from a free win now. So I just want to, give props to Ernie for having a much better season. But Goose, this is a good win for Goose. A good confidence win. I know Goose has not had the greatest season. So this is I don't know if it was 3 or 4-0, but good win for Goose, confidence-wise, at least moving forward. Then, Hop versus FBL. I think FBL actually had Hop on the ropes a lot more than I would expect in this set. Hop did win 4-1, but a lot of the games were very close, and a lot of the in-games were navigated really well by Hop. FBL says it himself that he's just not very good in this meta. And I think FBL played a lot better than expected, even to his standards in that set. So, Also, I said this too in my interview with FBL. I think this season he was a much better captain than in previous seasons. I'm not saying he was necessarily a bad captain before, but in this season I feel like he really solidified himself. His team had a game plan the whole season. They planned all their moves. They planned their schedule super well. And I think FBL made the best out of a bad situation. I think he drafted pretty good, but Citizen and XRB worked out as his top 2 picks. So I think FBL took what he was given, and he did the best he could. I think this season in a lot of different spots. So I had to give props to FBL as a captain, even though in terms of playing wise and result wise, he maybe didn't have the best results. Then Phoenix versus Hiru. Phoenix, he's just really good. Can't take away anything from Hiru, but Phoenix is just good, and that's just how it goes. Then get into the fourth quarter final matchup. This is Knob's team versus Beast team. In this first set, me versus Knob went all the way to Game 7, and could have really swung either way. I think it was a 1-mirror in Game 7. And I think I hit pretty solid. My line wasn't super hard. I don't think I played bad. I think I still played pretty good. But the last one was kind of rough for Knob. And then I did scam out a couple games against his pack 2 and the other 6 where he probably could have won if maneuvered slightly better. So definitely a very winnable set for Knob. But I don't think he played necessarily bad. But yeah. Coming in now, the second matchup, Kelby versus Beast. I didn't get to watch this one. Kelby won 4-1, I know that. And again, a little expected. Beast didn't have the greatest season. He started picking up towards the back end with 2 huge upset wins over Hedges and Inferno Out. But Kelby, he's just playing really good this season. He's a force to be reckoned with. I feel like he's underrated a lot because he doesn't really play super flashy. He's a streamer, and you don't really look at him necessarily as like a comp set guy, but he's been doing really good this season. Then third matchup, Poe guy versus this guy. It was a 1 mirror. As this being the game 7, the decider set, the final set to be played. This one was a pain for me to watch. This one hurt me. If anybody watched the set, you know that game. It was like 1, I think. This guy took a steal over a monkey, and that hurt my soul. And yeah, but overall, this guy, he had a pretty solid season for a 7 seed. His pack 4 was good. Him versus Bugo was one of the best sets in my opinion of the whole season, in terms of watching. And I do think this guy is not a bad player, for sure. It's just pack 4 is not very good and super counterable. But yeah, not a bad season, not the best season for this guy. Poe guy though, having an amazing season. He's still undefeated, 6-0. I never thought I'd say those words. No hate to Poe guy, but I've been on a team with him. I never in a million years thought he would be 6-0 right now. But props to him. Yeah, he's improved a huge amount thanks to like Crocs and Knob. So shouts out to those guys for really making Poe guy like a very strong player for sure. Then Monkey vs LC. This one could have been it. I mean, LC brought it all the way to a game 5. I think LC played really good. This is some of the best I've seen LC play. I think while watching him, he had his struggles through the season. He had some tougher matchups, and Monkey obviously is a big favorite in this matchup. But I think LC, taking Monkey to game 5 is very impressive. And Monkey, he's not had a very good season statistically at least. And definitely some worries moving forward, and I'll get into that. But, I think Knob's teams, one of their strengths for sure is how strong and deep they are. And for that to be true, you really need to make sure that your top 4 is as strong as we say. And Monkey hasn't had the best season. It's only his second one of the season. Before this, it was just his win versus Fluffo. So, it's a little worrisome if you're Knob's team that Monkey only won in game 5. You would really want this to be like a sweep or a 3-1, but a win's a win at the end of the day. Crocs versus Fruits. This is one honestly where going in, I said this even to my team. I thought Crocs was favored in this matchup. And honestly, if I'm being brutally honest, Crocs completely thrashed Fruits. I think Fruits took like 1 fight in 3 games. Like, that was a murder. One of the biggest murders I've seen all season. Honestly, all of these sets were just like curb stomps, for one of the sides. And, Crocs he just outplayed Fruits, and Fruits is on pack 4. Crocs, they're getting his pack 4 and knows how to play against it, and Crocs is a good player. Pack 4 is just not amazing right now, and, Crocs is really good, so, what else can you do? OG versus Nelson, again, rough outing for OG. Nelson was probably favored into the set, but honestly, I just want to give my praise to Nelson. He played amazing. This is the best I've ever seen Nelson play, especially in a set. Honestly, I think he honestly played it better than I would have played it in the matches that I watched. It was a 4-0, and Nelson just cleared out OG. Nelson is super cracked, and I'm very interested to see how he develops as a player going forward. Then K-Town versus Slop. Again, Slop 4-0'd, kind of destroyed, and K-Town, he just looked really lost in the matchup, 1 versus 2. I think K-Town is a much better player if he can get a Pack 1 mirror, which is coming this week. It will be very interesting to see. But 1 versus 2, this is a matchup that's happened before, and I think K-Town just doesn't play enough to know the matchup super well, so Slop took it there. Okay, let's get into the actual bulk of, well, I guess not really the bulk, but the part here that everybody knows is the Power Rankings part. We're going to kind of do this quick. There's only the last 4 teams, and then we'll get right into my predictions. So, coming in now, at number 4, we have Teedisc team. Not bad, but somebody's got to be 4th. I mean, I will say, I think there's, you gotta have I have a little more faith in them now than I did before. I'll say that much. That being said, I mean, they are a good team, but they still have just more weaknesses than the top 3. The top 3 have been the top 3 all season for a reason. I just believe in them a little bit more. They're very consistent. And I think Teedisc team has improved a lot. I think they're a lot stronger now than they were before. I think a lot of the players have gotten a lot better. That being said, I can't put them above any of the other 3 teams that I've trusted a little bit more all season long. Number 3 probably comes a little bit as a shock because this is a team that I've been very high on. It's Knob's team. After the win, I have moved them down still. And here's my reasoning. My reasoning for this is I think we saw a lot of chinks in the armor against Beast's team. Their weaknesses kind of showed. Knob is a good player, but he's not like a lethal 1 seed. He's not like a Kyogre level 1 seed. Monkey hasn't looked very good this season. He's really had his struggles. And OG and K-Tom still, while they do have okay results, they still have their struggles. And I think that their problems showed a little bit more in that last set, where if played into correctly, OG and K-Tom can struggle more, and Monkey has not had the best season. So I think this team does have some more kinks than the other top 2 teams, but they're still a really good team. Still could easily win the whole thing, and I wouldn't be very surprised. But they just have a few more problems, I think, than the top 2 teams. Coming in at number 2, we have the Strawberry Hat Pirates Hops team. It was very close for me between the top 2. I mean, you're pretty much coin flipping at this point. But this team, I mean, very good. They have a very strong top 4, just like Knob's team. And the only reason I think I have them slightly below Cemi's team is because they're Dune, Dune and Goose have had their struggles a little bit more. Goose, nice win. But, Dune is looking, really hard to watch right now in terms of a competitive aspect. So, it tells, again, I will mention this when I get into the matchup. They're utilizing him in the best way possible, probably. That being said, still a really good team. No hate to this team. They could easily win it. It was pretty much a coin flip between them and Cemi's team. But yeah, just really close and really good team all throughout, especially if Dune can pick it up and if Goose can win some big swing sets. Coming in at number 1, of course, then, is Cemi's team. Cemi's team, they have the best record of the season, of course. They cleared house just like Hobbs' team did. And this team, I have just slightly more trust in overall. But again, really, really close. But, Fluffo, while he's had his struggles, he's still pretty good. I think Neevskills and Anon are really, really good. 2nd, 3rd seeds. Phillip has a crazy record this season. And while the Pack 3 nerf definitely has hurt Phillip, I think he's still fine. Wolfgang, good player, wins a lot. Cemi, had some struggles, but still not bad. The Nikita, and I think it just comes down to me putting them over them slightly just because their bottom's a little bit more solid, but I can see an argument for both ways there. So now, that being said, let's get into the semifinals predictions for all the matchups. Because obviously, just because I think if you're worse on paper, you can obviously get better matchups. Matchups are very, very important, and I think people do underrate them a bit. So here, Lulakita versus Mirko. This is a matchup where I just feel like Lulakita has not played it enough. And will not know the matchup as well as she needs to beat Mirko. So I have Mirko winning pretty much because of the pack diff. It's going to be 1 versus 2. I just don't think Lulakita and her playstyle is going to be good into a pack 2 player. Then the second matchup, Phila versus Teedisc. Not a lot to say about this one. I mean, Teedisc is just the better player. That's all I can really say. Then, of course, Wolfgang versus Cheesemaster. This is a really interesting one. I think if you asked me this, last week, I would probably say Wolfgang would win. But, I mean, Cheesemaster has been playing a lot better when watching him play, when seeing him play ranked. Cheesemaster is looking really good. Wolfgang, again, might be a little bit thrown for a loop for a Pack 2 matchup. So I'm taking Cheesemaster in this one. P-Balls versus Anonymous, this will be one of the better sets for sure, in terms of watching. This will be super, super close. I am personally leaning a little bit towards Anonymous just because I'm going to trust an Anonymous a little bit more. I think he's a really solid player. I think everything that he does has some logic to it, even if I don't agree with all the moves he does. I know he's going to think very thoroughly. He's going to make very logical moves at all the points, and I think he's just a really good player. Pupils is also very strong, but he's had a lot more struggles this season, even though he has been stepping it up a lot more recently. So this is a very close one. It can go either way, but I'm going to slightly take Anonymous in this one. Cemi versus Wombat. This is one I just really don't know. Another one that can go really either way. For different reasons, though, because I think both players obviously aren't the best top players. Could easily go either way. I'm leaning slightly more towards Cemi, especially because Wombat's best pack is Pack 3. Cemi's played Pack 3. She knows how to play against Pack 3, presumably. But I mean, again, could go either way. I think if it goes to a 1 mirror, Cemi's slightly favored. That being said, I'm gonna take Cemi. Next set, Noob Skills versus Oscar. This one I think is, of course, a little closer than people might expect it to be, because I think Oscar is so good. That being said, Oscar's a Pack 1 player, and Noob Skills is one of the best Pack 1 mirror players, I think, right now. I think Noob Skills is a little bit weaker when it comes to the other matchups against Pack 2, 3, and 4. But in this 1 mirror matchup, I'm pretty confident Noob Skills is just really, really good at it. And I'm going to take Noob Skills in this 1 mirror. Then, Fluffo versus Onet. This is another one that's really close. But both have been very swingy. They've both lost some sets they maybe should have won. But they're both really good players still for sure. This one will be very interesting. And I'm giving the slight edge to Onet. Especially because Fluffo just seems like he tilts a little bit. Fluffo needs to win so badly, and while that can be a good thing, sometimes that can get the better of people, and I'm gonna put some trust in Onet here, but I could see that one also going either way. So I believe that means I have Mirko winning, Teedisc winning, Cheesemaster winning, then Anonymous winning, Cemi winning, Noob Skills winning, and Onet winning, which actually means I have Teedisc team making it to the finals, and I guess an on-paper upset, if you want to call it that. Then going into our second semi-final match, We have Amza versus OG. I've said this a lot on the recap, but when I watch OG, I'm not like insanely impressed. I like OG a lot. I like he's getting good results for the most part, obviously, except like last week. That being said, I just think Amza is going to be better in this matchup. Amza's played more Pack 2 mirror if OG goes Pack 2, and I don't think OG's Pack 1 is particularly amazing into Pack 2. So it'll be interesting, but I think Amza's just a better player here. I think he's going to be more experienced in the matchup, and I think OG, he just needs a little bit more time in practice, I think. The next matchup, Rex versus Pogai. This is a really interesting one. Pogai is having a great season, and Rex has been playing a lot better as of late. So this one, I think people are probably going to be blindly picking Pogai here because he's had such a good season. But I think Rex has got a really good chance in this one. It's going to be really close. And honestly, I still, right now, I don't even know. I don't even know who I would pick to win this one. It's really a complete toss-up. I'm going to lean Pogai, but just because he's quite good at the 1 mirror, but I could really see this one going either way. Then Damon versus Monkey. Damon, tale of two stories here. Damon's having a great season. Monkey's not having an amazing season. Very clearly Knob's team is kind of not confident with Knob or Kelby into Damon, so they go Monkey, which makes sense. Give me Damon in this set. Dune versus Crocs. I'm going to go with a no comment on this one, and I'm just going to move on. Goose versus K-Tom. This is one that's one of the big swing sets. It's going to probably be a Pack 1 mirror. I don't really know. This one, both have had their struggles throughout the season. I'm going to give the slight edge here to K-Tom because he does have, a little bit more Team Tour experience. He is, I think, if in the 1 mirror, I would probably trust him slightly more because I think he is a much better player in the 1 mirror. But Goose could easily win this. I'm not very confident in either pick here, but I'm going to give a slight edge to K-Tom. Hop versus Noob is really interesting. Another set where I really don't know who's going to win. I can't even remember who I picked. I think I picked Knob to win this one on my matchups. But this could really go either way. I think it's a full flip. I'm gonna give a slight edge to Knob, but I don't feel great about it. I think Knob has a slightly better Pack 2 if they end up doing anything with Pack 2. I could see either switching mid-set. I would assume Hop stays 1. But I'm going to give a slight edge to Knob. He's had a really good season. He's beat everybody that's not me. So, it's going to be close, though. This is one of the best sets in this semifinal matchup. And I could really see either player winning here. But I'm just going to go slightly more to Knob, but Hop could easily take it for sure. Into my final matchup, Phoenix versus Kelby. I think Kelby has been playing super good. I think he's really hard player to beat. I think this is a good meta for him where you don't have to really go full to the scaling lines. You can play a little bit more instinctively, not as much theory lines. I think Kelby has been bad at theory lines a lot in the past, where you need to really have a lot more competitive practice. But Kelby is really good at just the intuitive, I'm going to play best board, I'm going to, find my outs later type of play style, which I think this meta caters to a lot. With all that being said, this is a spot where I'm picking the upset. I think Phoenix is a cracked player, and I think Phoenix will upset Kelby in this matchup, but I see why people are leaning Kelby, but I'm just going to believe in Phoenix. When I watch him play, I think he's good. And yeah, Phoenix has a good matchup versus Kelby. And another one, it's going to be close. It's going to be a good set. But I'm taking Phoenix in this one. So I have Amza winning. I have Pokai winning. I have Damon winning. I have Crux winning. I have K-Town winning. I have Nob winning, and I have Phoenix winning, which means I believe I have Nob's team winning 3-4 or 4-3. But man, it's a lot of swing sets, and I could really see it going either way with a lot of these matchups. Really interested to see how this one plays out. So, but yeah, either way, that is my recap and predictions for the semifinal matchup. Of course, we'll be covering the semifinals recap and finals preview next week, and interested to see how these matchups go. I think a lot of these will be very swingy. It's going to be really two close series, and very, very excited to see how this one plays out. So, yeah, I will see everybody next week. Make sure to sign up for Team Tour Season 7.5, and yeah, see everybody later.